and Mane was up
I
front.
think in 20 games as a 9,
unreal.
towards the end of the second half of that season, he scored 14. Mane as the false 9.
Unbelievable footballer. And we've gone off topic slightly,
So
but
unpredictable.
But
Yeah.
unbelievable player. But
But Bayern are going at it.
why do they go for Kudus?
It's a good shout.
They should go for the Kudus and Mbemos.
And is it them interested in Rashford, or is it Rashford's agent saying to Bayern Munich?
Well, because
He's
Barcelona
available.
are looking at Rashford too.
Allegedly,
So
but
what-
it's more
so-
him looking at Barca, to
So
be
I've got a
honest.
massive tangent. Who are we talking about here? We're talking about.
Well, we're talking
So
about-
on Rodrigo, to just to end
Yeah.
on that, I think he'll get a move, and it could be a Bayern or a PSG. I have a feeling there might be like a knock-on effect. I think if he goes to PSG, I think someone like Barca could become available, and Arsenal might be ready to that. If he goes to Bayern, then again, like, they've lost Sane, so probably not much of a knock on there. I just wonder. They've also signed a striker, Bayern Munich.
Waltmeier.
Yeah, Wolfsmed. Yeah, I don't know.
Waltmeier.
Sorry, I very recently
Waltmeier.
learned about the player. On the Rashford stuff, he's got to leave Man United, not even because I think it's necessarily done from there, but because,
It is done.
well, it's Amorim's system. He'll just never be. He can't even transition to a wing back in the way like other wingers can. Like Saka could if he had to, but Rashford never could or would. I'm not saying Saka should before Arsenal fans get upset with me. I'm just saying some wingers have that ability to translate to that role, and I don't think Rashford has that at all. So you'd have to put him on the inside, and he's not going to do that because they just signed Cunha. Fine. So he needs to go to a club where they embrace wingers, and Barcelona, Bayern Munich, yeah, they do that kind of thing. I mean, are they going to pay his wages? Nico Williams is going to Barcelona. I think Rashford's in a bit of trouble. Like, I think there's a chance he really doesn't find a club to the level he really wants.
Yeah, we've spoken about this so many times. You know, if I actually asked Jack on the show last week if you had 3 options, and then we're talking that last week of the transfer window, but all parties are now desperate to leave. Would you take Palace? Would you take, I think, Lyon? Because allegedly PSG might pay for Lyon to get back in Ligue 1, and they're still in Europe, I think. This is what I heard yesterday.
What?
Something like that. Don't quote me on it.
Why
We'll
would
find
they do
out
that?
after, probably. And the other one, I think, was like Real Betis. And it might get to that stage where there's a week left and he goes, shit, we're going to have to lower our wages, kill the ego, and go out and play and try and get in this World Cup squad for next season.
But clubs around the world must still rate Marcus Rashford.
They do, but they can't afford him.
But why?
So this is what I mean. You'll
But this
have
is
to
what
drop
I find
that wage.
crazy. Like, why? Look, I don't want to. I always want to caveat with this. I have no idea what Marcus Rashford wants. I have no idea what Marcus Rashford is saying behind the scenes on the money front. I have no idea what kind of lifestyle he has to sustain. Like, for all I know, there are financial commitments. That means he can't move from that. And you know what? He's entitled to it because you know what? United offered it to him.
Yeah, it's
and
not his fault.
He's yeah, right. So he's totally entitled to it. But what I would say is, how much is enough? If you're on 300 grand, so what if you take 180, but you play for Bayern Munich or Barcelona?
And you've got a chance to do something to get in the England squad.
And
for the World
right,
Cup.
and again, and I caveat that all by saying I don't know what the personal situation is. Money's a very personal thing, and I have no idea. Which is why I'll never sit here and go, "No, you're a disgrace. You should take this. You should take that. You should." What? I have no idea. But I would just ask the question: why not, for the sake of getting that top move and getting it? Someone will roll the dice. Honestly, if Real Madrid lose Rodrigo, they'd roll the dice on Rashford. So what? Your second fiddle to Vinicius. You play on the right every now and again. You cover up front. for a
Just get
back
on with it and do it.
Honestly, clubs in Italy would come for him. 100%. AC Milan, Juventus, Inter Milan. One experience that would be playing for massive clubs.
But do you
playing
think
in
this
Europe
will be the latter stages of the window where something like that could happen?
But again,
'Cause
but
right
why
now it
leave
seems
it to
like
the latter
he's-
stages? I mean, you are one of the biggest. Forget one of the biggest. It's one of the biggest names. Marcus Rashford's a massive name in football. You know, why not just get yourself a good pre-season, know where you're going to be, start settled. Don't get like a 28th of August move. Get
I
a
think it
move
will
where
be
you
that.
go, I think so too, but get a move where you go, right, I'm in for pre-season, like, I'm ready to go. Let me get fit, let me get up to scratch with everything.
But I think
you're going to make a great start.
His side will be keeping their cards close to their chest in the way of they won't say yes to the first thing that pops up. They might engage and conversate and create some interest and maybe wait a couple of weeks, see if anything else out there is a little bit better, wage-wise, club-wise, prestige-wise, because that comes down to it as well. And then if it gets to that certain stage where the club are thinking we could get him on a bit of a cheaper one because it's so late. Then he won't have that pre-season. But then if he does go somewhere like is Palace out the question? If Eze leaves, that's a great place for him to play Premier League football, get himself back in the England squad. They've got Europe. I mean, I know he wants to play for Barca, etc., Real Madrid, but I think at this late stage, even those big clubs are keeping an eye on the situation, but they're going, right, there's a week left, should we chuck in a cheeky little low ball bid, and he plays games. It might be second fiddle, but he's got to end up somewhere.
And he will, because it's just fundamentally not a fit. United fans might laugh at me. Jadon Sancho, right? So obviously Chelsea actually paid $5 million to not make it permanent, which I think's hilarious.
Unbelievable business.
With Jadon Sancho, I can see a world, and I know, has he posted things on Instagram before or said things?
Yeah, in the past he has. Yeah, freedom and stuff like that, wasn't it?
There's a world in which the type of player he is, Amorim puts an arm around his shoulder, says, right, we haven't worked together. This is who I am. Good to meet you, blah, blah, blah. You're actually a really good left-sided 10 / left of a front three player for me. Actually, he fits that really well. He's not a touchline winger, plays better on the inside. Just give me 6 months. Let's see if we can work something out. Football fans are fickle. I promise you. Well, firstly, football fans are supportive. Someone pulls on the shirt, they're supporting them through that 90 minutes. But also, you score a couple goals, have a couple big moments. You say, "Look, I'm enjoying my football again.
You
it's good to be here."
Serve, don't you?
You do, and you might hit an ace. And there we go. And things can change very, very quickly. Granit Xhaka was booed off the pitch for Arsenal, and then he left with Arsenal fans chanting at the Emirates Stadium, "We want you to stay." Things change.
There you go. What an example.
Things fucking change. Sancho, there's that chance. I think because of how he fits, there's a chance, though probably not, but you never know. Whereas with Rashford, I don't see a world in which he becomes even what Amorim needs. Even if he had the best application, was desperate to stay, loved Amorim more than anything, I just don't see a world in which Amorim would go, yeah, okay, all right, we'll make this work. He doesn't fit. It just doesn't work for him. And Amorim's going to die on his sword, and he's going to do it his way. He'll go, this is how I do things, and I'm going to try
and if he gives him that fresh slate and it doesn't work after 6 months, you're at your break point. You go, I can't do this anymore. So you will have to leave. There will be no Hawkeye on looking back and trying to work out a place for you. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I agree, there could be a
production
chance.
Put Wimbledon on there.
There could be a chance. RSV says the whole narrative that if you have a Champions League you can't attract a player is absolute BS. It looks like United are having the last laugh after losing that final to Spurs. Spurs and Newcastle can't attract anybody. Clara Bitsy